All right, we are recording. Thank you so much, Sadie, for taking out some time. I appreciate it. Jumping right in, I'm a big fan of the show. My whole family is actually. I guess, how did you prepare for the role of Alice, and what do you enjoy most about playing her?
Yeah, well, how did I prepare? I found out very, very close to the day that I started shooting that I was actually joining the project in the first place. And I always find it a kind of a difficult question to answer because I feel like Alice and I are very, like, I don't feel like there's a lot of like things that I'm like putting on to be Alice, where I feel like we're very close. But at the same time, like just trying to have empathy for that teenager who's like going through so much and who like her way of coping is like shutting her parents out and shutting her mom out in particular, and like she's really trying to make it difficult for her mom to like succeed in staying in Port Haven at first. And then I think just allowing myself to really enjoy the 90s nostalgia and let that transform Alice and change who she is and let it like really affect who she is as a person, was a big part of it as well. It's just been such a pleasure. I love that I get to sing, I get to do some of the cool like underwater stunts and stuff like that. So yeah, all of that has been really fantastic.
So the shooting locations are really beautiful. That's one thing I always wanted to mention. And I guess, what's it like shooting in our Ontario? Is that where it's shot, I believe?
Yeah, we shoot just outside of Toronto, and it's really stunning. The farm is our exterior location, and actually on that same property is where the pond is, which is just kind of crazy because it was a total coincidence that they were like at the same place. And then we have a beautiful studio in Scarborough. It's like more in the city. And the attention to detail with like the 90s and the present day, they switch over the sets completely every time. And it's just like the light switches, the books on the shelf, the like, the lists on the fridge, every single little detail is spoken for. And the exterior stuff too, the cars, the laundry on the clothing line, like just the attention to detail is so cool, and like really feeds you as an actor too, just all that information that you get.
So, one thing I was going to mention is, how do you keep it straight between traveling between the past and the present in the show?
It was definitely a challenge. There's a lot of like details to keep track of in terms of like what Alice knows and what she doesn't, what she knows in the past and what she knows in the present and what she knows in the present because she's been to the past and blah, blah, blah. And so Evan Williams, who plays Elliot, not only is Elliot Alice's kind of go-to person for the time travel conversations, but Evan is also my go-to person. I feel like if I had a question about like how everything was working out, I'd sometimes go to him and be like, okay, wait, why do I know this? Or how do I know this? Or when did I find this out? Or did you tell me this in the 90s? Or so it is a lot of work to keep track of. And we have like our two showrunners have every detail like in their brains at all times. Like I try and keep it mostly in my script, but for them, it's like burned into their brains. So they've really got it organized.
That's
It's a
wild.
team
I
effort.
love it. So what do you enjoy most about spending time in the 90s? So I was a teenager in the 90s, and it was always a good time. So what was your favorite part about, that era for you?
Yeah, I loved all the music. I loved that Alice gets to borrow Teen Cat's clothes because she's always showing up from the pond. And so Elliot gives her clothes to change into, but they're not really very stylish because they are Elliot's clothes. So Teen Cat is always giving Alice an outfit to wear for whatever event that they're going to. And I just think that's a really cute way of bringing them closer. I think like a lot of teen girls like share your wardrobes. Like there's no kind of like, this is mine, this is yours. It's all like, this is ours. And so that was a really sweet detail. And I love the fashion in the 90s. I think it's like super fun and out there. So I was enjoying that.
I love it. That's so cool. And so, I guess tell us about what's it like diving into that pond each episode. It looks, I don't know, tell us what it's like.
Yeah, well, we did most of the diving into the pond in the late summer, early fall.
Okay.
And then there's a tiny bit more to come that was filmed in the colder months for sure. So sometimes it was just really cold, but it was really cool. It's just like such a bucket list item in terms of being an actor, like of doing a stunt like that. And to be also, we did some underwater stuff too, and that was shot in a pool because that pond isn't like clear enough to actually be able to shoot in the pond.
Sure.
But the stuff in the pool is just, it's so technical and it looks so cool on camera, but you don't have a sense of that shooting it, because for you're just like, okay, hold my breath, count to 7, okay, turn this way, okay, turn that way. Like, it's not as dramatic as it looks on camera, but once you see it afterwards, you're like, oh, it was so worth it. But it was fun, and Chyler's super experienced with stunts and stuff, so she was really like there for me in terms of all of that, and especially once her character starts going in the pond too, we were always having conversations about it.
I love it. And so what's it like working up against, a Hollywood legend like Andie McDowell? I mean, I've been a fan of her since as far as I can remember. So
Totally.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, I when I found out that I was working with Andy, I was so excited, and then I was on holidays and I went to the airport, and then when I got to the airport, there was like a huge L'Oreal billboard with Andy's face on it, and I was like, oh wow, like okay, like she really is everywhere. And it was just a funny moment, and I was of course nervous to start working with people like Andy and Chyler, who have such a big list of credits and are so like loved by their fans and like well known and everything, but it didn't feel like I needed to be nearly as nervous as I was. Like we got so close, and it was so warm right from the get-go, and both Andy and Chyler have been really generous with like welcoming me into the industry and onto the set, and like it's been so perfect. So it was really nerve-wracking before, but the minute we all met, it was like perfect.
I love it. Yeah, there's definitely a good, interactions between all three of you guys for sure. Yeah, and are you kind of surprised with the success of the show? I mean, fans are having like watch parties weekly. I mean, our family included, me and my mom and dad, we have a text chain and we talk, during each episode. And, each episode kind of makes you want to immediately watch the next one. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I love that, because the episodes are coming out once a week, that it doesn't like the excitement kind of, it builds all the way along. And then also like, I don't know, I feel like I get to connect with people and what they're saying about the show once a week. And it's been a really warm reception. So at first I was like super nervous. It was like the opening night of a show once a week. Like it was just like so stressful. But now that we're further into the season and people are really getting into it and getting into their own theories and like, yeah, like witnessing all the kind of discussions that are happening about like what's going to happen next and what do you remember from last episode. It's just so fun to see how it's being received, and I'm not nervous anymore. I get excited to just be a part of I feel like I get to be a part of the audience on Sunday nights, which is just super fun, and I'm having a great time. I'm gonna be sad when the Sundays are over, but
oh well, you know what, I was gonna mention congrats on the season 2 announcement, so that's great news. And without giving anything away, what can we expect from the remaining episodes and leading into season 2?
I think that leading into the next 2 episodes in season 2, there are going to be some time travel situations that Alice and Kat find themselves in that I don't even know if I could explain if they weren't spoilers.
Okay,
and so,
yeah, we don't want spoilers.
no, but I'm really excited. I'm just so excited to see, like, I think we're going to kind of break everyone's brains a little bit in the next 2 episodes in a good way. That will make people want to, I mean, they'll want season 2 to follow like right away, but I don't know. I think it'll build some anticipation for where we're headed with the following season. Yeah.
That's awesome. So last question I got for you is, what's it like going from a show like The Way Home to your next role in Shudder's slasher and Netflix Unicorn Academy? You know, that's very, very different roles.
Yeah, it's really funny. I shot slasher like right before I shot The Way Home, and it was like, it's so gory. It's so it's so just like crying and screaming the whole season, because it's so scary. But you know, I left that and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like that was so intense to be like that scared for a couple months. And then this actually shot right after that and then came out first. So it's just funny to be like, this is the first thing that for me that's like really coming out into the world. And it starts here. It starts like I'm playing a 15-year-old in like a series on Hallmark, and it's like a family show, and the next one is like all blood and guts, and then we go back to like then it like goes back to like a more wholesome place, but it's like fully a kids show, like it's for 6-year-olds. So it's kind of all over the map, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I like doing all different genres, so it's exciting. I'm glad I'm not like really in a box at this point. It's like it could be Hallmark, it could be little kids TV, it could be like total slasher, horror, like, you know, it could be anything. So it's a good feeling.
Well, congratulations. I'm really excited, and you know, I wish you the best of luck. So
thanks so much.